It began with a stare-off across the courtroom, quiet storm brewing between two people who once shared something more intimate than accusations. On one side stood Miss Marsh, a young mother demanding accountability. On the other, Mr. Reed, a man who insisted he had been trapped in a web of deception. The question here is simple. Is Reed the father of one-year-old Tamari, or was this an elaborate attempt to force a relationship that had never truly existed?
Ms. Marsh, you and your mom have demanded the defendant, Mr. Reed, appear in court today because you say he denies your one-year-old daughter, Tamari, only when you deny his desire to have a relationship with you. Mr. Reed, you claim that Ms. Marsh has confessed to you that you may not be Tamari's biological father.
But Miss Marsh was unwavering in her claim. Reed had been part of her life, present for the key moments, even showering her older child with extravagant gifts and birthday parties. A man who denied fatherhood, she argued, wouldn't have spent thousands on a child who wasn't his.
Torrance wrote me on Facebook telling me that he was coming for me, like coming to be in a relationship with me. And then when he get there, everything was going good. He was asking me like he was mad because I had two kids before him.
But Reed was just as resolute in his defense. He had his reasons, his doubts. He claimed Marsh had admitted, at least once, that he might not be the father. He portrayed himself as a man cornered, manipulated into a story that wasn't his truth. To him, this wasn't about fatherhood. It was about control, about a woman who refused to let go. He insisted they were never in an exclusive relationship, that she had known he was involved with other women, and then came the bombshell.
She knew I was dating other women.
I never knew he was dating other women. On Torrance's birthday, he asked me to go on a trip with him to a resort with his family. When we get to Missouri, two women pop up at the hotel room, and he said, "This is my wife." And I said, "It's over."
Your Honor, on the way to the...
What?
Your Honor, on the way...
Hold on.
Introduce your side chick to your wife? Now that's something even Judge Lauren hadn't seen before, but the story isn't over. According to Marsh, Reed had taken her on what she believed was a romantic getaway, only to introduce her to his wife. Reed, however, had no shame in his confession. He was a man who wanted multiple wives, he declared, and Marsh had always known this.
He telling me he loved me and all kinds of stuff. He wanted to get married. I didn't know nothing about him wanting 4 wives.
Really?
I didn't.
Really? Come on, Miss Marsh. Cut it out.
It's your testimony. You informed her of your desire.
Yes, it is.
Judge Lake's patience wore thin as she listened to the tangled mess of claims and counterclaims. Miss Marsh, the child's mother, was adamant, insisting that despite her past, despite the whispers of doubt, Mr. Reed was the biological father.
Like, I've been knowing him since I was 18, and it's really hurt. It's hurt. And then he want to go travel state to state to have different babies and find another wife, and he get these women involved, and they write me.
The case had not only taken its toll on Mr. Reed emotionally, but also played out in the public eye, where social media had become a courtroom of its own. A Facebook post was admitted as evidence. But Judge Lauren had an important question.
Someone posted a picture of the baby.
Exactly.
And said, "Congratulations on your new baby." And Mr. Reed, you responded,
"Don't be too quick to say it," because that's how I felt.
But wrote
I don't
me
know
that
for
same
sure.
day.
So what is your doubt exactly? Because you have not testified.
Because every time she get angry with me, the first thing she do is say, "You're not the father. This other gentleman is the father that she was sleeping with."
The court now turned to the crucial evidence, a conception calculator. Tamari was born on April 15th, 2016. Backtracking, the probable window of conception fell between July 18th and July 23rd, 2015. The timing, Marsh insisted, aligned perfectly with her relationship with Reed. But when pressed about another man, she admitted she had engaged in another relationship just days after her supposed conception date with Reed. This murks up the timeline.
Did you inform both of them that they were both potentially the father?
Yes, I did, but the conception date matched up to Mr. Reed.
Let me grab my conception calculator. Tell me, when was Tamari born?
April 15th.
All right, April 15th, 2016. If we hit calculate, the conception date would be July 18th to July 23rd, 2015.
For a year, Reed had tried to do what he believed was right. Despite his doubts, he had moved in with Marsh, spending 7 months in a fragile domestic arrangement, attempting to forge a bond with Tamari. She called him Dada. Now, he had to face the possibility that he had been living a lie. The paternity test results were in, and the courtroom held its breath.
Mr. Reed, you are not the father.
Hello? The collective gasp from the courtroom barely registered with Reed, who let out a bitter laugh. With the arrogance of a winner, he claimed that the paternity should have been obvious, and that's when Judge Lauren read him for filth.
Now, Mr. Reed, you were perfectly fine when she was one of many. Now you got a problem because you was one of many.
No, I don't have a
No.
The moment Ms. Sales stepped into the courtroom, it was clear she wasn't here to argue. She was here to demand accountability. For 5 years, she had been involved with D'Amico Jackson, a man who, she claimed, had once begged her to have a child with him. But now, as their 3-year-old daughter, Micaiah, played blissfully unaware of the battle unfolding around her, Jackson stood unmoved, dismissing Sales as nothing more than a former fling trying to trap him.
Miss Sales, you claim that you and the defendant, Mr. Jackson, were in a serious relationship and it was his idea to have a baby. But now that your 3-year-old daughter, Micaiah, is here, he denies being her father.
From the very start, Jackson made his position clear. He was not Micaiah's father. To him, Sales had been a side woman, someone he enjoyed in secrecy but never committed to.
Mr. Jackson, you claim that Miss Sales is a former side chick who is trying to pin a baby on you only because she wants you back in her life. You are certain you are not her daughter's father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
However, Sales wasn't just fighting for financial support. She was fighting to restore the truth, to expose the cowardice she believed Jackson was hiding behind. According to her, they had been inseparable.
I was with D'Amico for 5 years. We were in a relationship. We had our baby, and now because he sits up and talks to his family, now he feels like that is not his child. Since the day my daughter was born, because she was light-skinned with gray eyes, that was not his child.
I know you gasped in the courtroom, but we have to hear Mr. Jackson out. Jackson maintained that there had never been a real relationship, that he had always made his intentions clear. Sales was never more than a casual encounter, nothing more than a good time. A very good one.
Mr. Jackson, she said you were in a 5-year relationship. Is that true?
No, ma'am.
So what were we doing, Miko?
What were you doing?
Huh?
You know, she was like my side woman.
Your side woman.
She was your side woman.
Miko, you gonna stand her
So
lie?
it's your testimony you weren't in a relationship at all.
I mean, we had a relationship, but it wasn't serious. You know, we was just, you know.
According to Ms. Sales, Jackson couldn't get enough of her. She stated, and he admitted, that he had visited her every day, that he is always in her home, in her bed, making promises she thought were real. But now, he stood in front of the court, rewriting history.
So did you make that clear, or were you making her feel like she was your real woman, but really you were just having a side woman?
She was just my side woman. I made it clear to her before. She understood.
Stop lying. He came to my house every single day. He
Yeah, I
lived
did,
at my
Jan.
house every single day.
The potential father is sure that Ms. Sales is fabricating stories. His certainty was rooted in the judgment of family members who pointed at Micaiah's light skin and gray eyes as supposed proof that she couldn't possibly be his. Who needs a DNA test when we have got family?
Why is it you think you can't be Micaiah's biological father? It seems like you at least a possibility.
Yana, one day I was over my family member house doing some work with him, and a friend of us called and said that they seen her in a car with some light-skinned guy with dreads, and said this who she been seeing, it's a possibility could be her baby daddy or anything like that. This was told to me.
Then, the judge turned her focus to Jackson's sister, Dernisha, who had come to testify. Dernisha spoke of a late-night phone call in which Jackson revealed that Sales had confessed to sleeping with another man. That revelation only deepened the suspicion that Micaiah might not be Jackson's child.
What you know about this situation?
D'Amico called me crying one night because he said Ashley admitted to him that she had slept with the light-skinned dude with dreads, and there's a possibility that Micaiah might not be his.
The case shifted as Jackson explained how he had tried, allegedly, to take a DNA test, but was thwarted by Ms. Sales' tearful breakdown at the courthouse. Jackson claimed he didn't want to hurt Sales, but his emotional turmoil was a poor excuse for sidestepping the truth. As tensions rose, the judge, visibly annoyed, had to step in.
Miss Sales, you got a lot of mouth for everybody, but you ain't gonna have a lot of mouth for me. And if what you're saying is true, that envelope is gonna validate it. You don't have to act a fool for it.
Again,
Because
okay.
you don't have to act a fool for the truth.
Sales accused Jackson of playing both sides, caught between two women, neither of which he seemed able to fully embrace. Everyone braced themselves with anticipation as Judge Lake prepared to announce the results of the paternity test.
Mr. Jackson, you are the father.
Now I know who my baby daddy is.
When Deja was born, the last thing Tony Miller expected was to stand in a courtroom questioning whether he was the father. But as the days wore on, doubt crept in. She had left him once, for another man. When she returned, Tony had taken her back, but the damage was done. Now, Tony was staring at a reality where Deja, his newborn daughter, might not be his at all.
Mr. Miller, Miller, you claim your girlfriend, Ms. Troutman, left you for another man.
Yes,
you
ma'am.
say that when she returned, you forgave her and quickly resumed your sexual relationship.
Yes.
Shortly after, she announced she was pregnant.
Ms. Troutman didn't deny the affair. She admitted to it. In fact, she justified it. According to her, Tony wasn't taking care of her or their family. She felt neglected, abandoned, and emotionally distant. While she struggled to raise their daughter, Tony's mother had stepped in to play the role of caretaker, buying diapers, providing shelter, and supporting Miss Troutman when Tony could not. She wasn't just frustrated by Tony's lack of responsibility, she was furious at his mother's interference in their relationship.
Yes.
How did you end up in this situation?
Well, I wouldn't have been sleeping around with other men if he was doing his responsibility as a father and taking care of his girls and me also. He wasn't buying diapers, wipes, clothes. His mother was the man of our relationship. She took care of us.
And so, she sought comfort elsewhere. When Tony left town for just a week, she reconnected with another man. By the time Tony returned, she had moved on. And when he found her with another man holding their child, his world came crashing down.
Yes, we have a second child, Deja.
And you have doubts about number two.
I do have doubts.
Why?
And I seen her with another guy at the plasma center. And he was holding my firstborn. I said, who's this guy holding my kid? And she said,
Now the stakes were higher than ever. Tony stood in the courtroom, his frustration building. As the case unfolded, the timeline of Miss Troutman's encounters with 3 different men was revealed. Miss Troutman admitted she had been intimate with the man, but she claimed that it was only after their breakup. Tony wasn't convinced.
Miss Troutman, you admit that during that time, you were intimate with another man.
Yes.
And during that time, were you intimate with anyone else?
No. Well, yes, I was when me and him, I'm sorry.
Really?
Yes, I was. When,
Although Tony was hurt that the plasma guy had had his daughter on his hand, he was about to learn a new kind of hurt. Miss Troutman continued with her story, but the judge can't help but wonder how she does it.
I
Ran
left
out the house,
and
slipped on a banana peel, and
No.
landed in the bed with somebody else.
No, that is not what happened.
I'm trying to figure out how this
That's not what happened,
evidence leads up.
Miss Troutman wasn't about to stay silent. She brought calendar evidence to back up her claims, each event color-coded and carefully documented. Meanwhile, Tony held on to a fragile hope that, despite everything, he might still be Deja's father.
So you have a February calendar laid out so we can understand what all was going on. In yellow, we have the dates you were with the chat line guy.
Yes, ma'am.
The green outlines the dates you were with the guy at the plasma center.
Yes, ma'am.
The judge was appalled by their behavior. She reminded them both that they were parents, and parents had responsibilities. Irresponsibility, no matter how hard the circumstances, was not an excuse. For allowing the dysfunction of their relationship to overshadow the needs of the children, Judge Lauren lashed out at them.
This relationship is now in jeopardy because of choices you both made. Immature choices. We're not just talking about Deja. You have another child together.
yes.
Tony's mother offered a perspective of her own. As a grandmother, she had watched the child grow and could not help but feel a deep connection to her. She, too, had wondered if the child looked more like someone else, someone other than Tony.
And I seen that guy. Deja looks just like him. I wanted to believe her because she said it was my son's baby, it's my
Which
grandbaby.
guy did you see?
And family is not a game. It was not a place for careless choices or emotional manipulation. Then came the moment that would tear the family apart. The room held its breath as the judge read the results aloud.
Mr. Miller,
Yes, Your Honor.
you are not her father.
Hey.
Patrice.
Patrice, baby, I love you, baby. I will.
At the heart of the case is Ms. Hatcher's 2-year-old son, Josiah, caught in a paternity battle between 3 men, each one adamant that they weren't his father, and all but one unwilling to take responsibility.
Ms. Hatcher, you confessed that at the time you conceived your 2-year-old son, Josiah, you had sexual relations with 3 men. Now, you don't want your son to suffer for your mistakes, so you've requested paternity testing on all 3 men.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Hatcher confessed that around the time of Josiah's conception, she'd been involved with 3 men, each unaware of the others. She explained that her relationships were messy and complicated. There had been a 5.5-month fling with Mr. Scott, a 7.5-year relationship with her ex, and a one-night stand with Mr. Blake, all happening in the same window of time.
Now, Mr. Scott, you claim Ms. Hatcher led you to believe you were the only potential father of this child until she told you in anger
That's
that
true,
she
ma'am.
needed a DNA test.
Yes, Your Honor, that is true.
Mr. Blake, you claim there's no way you're the child's father, and you're going to prove that today.
Yes, ma'am.
From the get-go, Scott seemed ready for a fight. In an effort to untangle the mess, Miss Hatcher presented a calendar marking the days she had slept with each man. The evidence was as chaotic as the situation itself, with overlapping dates in December, a mere few days apart, suggesting all three men could have had an equal chance of fathering Josiah.
I have a calendar right here.
Oh, that will help us. Jerome, please. As we see here on the calendar, the yellow represents you, Mr. Scott. For Mr. Blake, that's represented in the blue. We're looking at the window of conception.
Okay.
Mr. Sneed is in green.
But it wasn't just the men who were frustrated. The courtroom was surprised at the three fathers, each in their own way voicing their doubts about being Josiah's father. Mr. Scott, who had signed the birth certificate and raised the child as his own for 2 years, was particularly vocal. His frustration was clear as he revealed he'd been blindsided when Miss Hatcher demanded a DNA test, citing her fear that he might try to take Josiah from her.
I want to understand from your perspective why you are doubtful.
Okay, I'm doubtful because she said out of her own mouth, DNA test. I didn't know nothing about her situation. When she came and told me she was pregnant, I believed her.
Okay.
Because she's a woman.
While Mr. Scott was willing to play the part of a father, even buying diapers and spending time with Josiah, he couldn't shake the feeling that something didn't add up. Mr. Blake, the second man in question, was less inclined to take responsibility. He too had slept with Miss Hatcher around the time of conception and admitted that there was a chance Josiah could be his, but he made it clear he wasn't willing to shoulder that burden without solid proof.
Miss Hatcher on the 26th of December, that's the day after Christmas, you should remember that.
We got a hotel room that night. Possibility it could be mine. If it's mine, I don't have a problem with taking care of mine.
Was it protect sex on that day?
We had a little alcohol, but I think so, Your Honor.
Mr. Sneed, the third man, had been left in the dark for almost 2 years before Miss Hatcher told him he might be Josiah's father. He too had doubts, but that did not stop her from telling the court who Scott really is.
This man, you know he's homeless, and I let him stay at my house at night. I don't want him to be my baby's father because he's 43 years old. He don't want to work.
But you slept with him without protection.
Yeah, I did.
Miss Hatcher really didn't want Scott to be the father of her child. She pointed out characteristics in the other men that showed them as the possible fathers. The judge understood her pain, but there's something more at stake here. It wasn't about her, it was about Josiah, their son, who deserved answers and stability, and the judge made sure they understood that.
When this man stepped up and signed the birth certificate, then really that should have been, that's it. Because that's what babies deserve. Their mother and their father in the hospital, when they're born, signing the birth certificate and living their life. Not 2 years later, still sitting up here arguing.
For the mother, the emotional burden was overwhelming. Finally, the moment arrived, the moment of truth. DNA diagnostics had spoken, and their findings would settle this once and for all.
Mr. Sneed is not Josiah's father. When it comes to Mr. Blake, you are not the father.
I'm sorry.
When it comes to Mr. Scott, you are the father.
For Mr. Scott, the news was the sweetest. After months of uncertainty, he finally has the confirmation that he is the father. However, Miss Hatcher was devastated. As they struggled with their feelings, the judge had a few choice words for them.
This doesn't have to happen again, and you don't have to perpetuate this whole nightmare onto your child. And as long as you disrespect him, and as long as you disrespect her, then Josiah is gonna pay for it. Now you wanna roll your eyes, you wanna go home, sit your butt down somewhere and think about what I said. Cause I'm gonna tell you right now, I am furious.
The courtroom buzzed with the tension of a dispute that had spiraled far beyond a simple question of paternity. On one side, Kakitho Hughes stood in silence, caught between two powerful forces: his mother, Lisa McBirth, and his lover, Ms. Jackson, the mother of his alleged child. The case before the court had torn their fragile relationships apart, and the stakes had never been higher.
Mr. Hughes, you say you're stuck between your mother and your ex-girlfriend who are in a heated dispute in court today. Ms. McBirth, you petitioned the court for a DNA test to prove your son, Kakitho Hughes, is not the father of Ms. Jackson's 2-year-old son, Elijah Jackson.
Right from the bat, Lisa went for Ms. Jackson. Lisa, certain that the paternity of Elijah Jackson was a lie, was also suing Ms. Jackson for defamation. She is ready to fight for her family as she claimed had been wronged by Ms. Jackson's accusations.
So, Ms. McBirth, why do you believe your son's not the father?
This woman is trouble. She is trouble with a capital T. She, as a matter of fact, I call her the 3 T's. Trash, trouble, and trifling. That's what she is. The little boy looks nothing like my son or any member of my family.
At the heart of the conflict was the question of fatherhood. Ms. Jackson stood firm in her claim that Hughes was the father of her child, Elijah, but Lisa wasn't having it.
Ms. Jackson, obviously you have a different opinion.
Yes, ma'am.
So why do you think she's in so much doubt over your child?
I have no idea, to be honest. Like, maybe because he is so white?
Because he all the way white. He ain't got no black in him. Everything I see got powder puff on it. I don't see no chocolate nowhere, okay?
No, ma'am.
Ms. Jackson told the court that she and Hughes had been in a relationship for more than a year and had been with nobody else. However, it seems she is lucky to be saying that in a courtroom because these two seem ready to throw hands.
Now she knows she lying. She lying. She lying.
Yes, ma'am.
This DNA right here has been in our life. She's never was a girlfriend. You are a vampire. You are just a fly-by-night. We didn't know anything about you. He's been in a relationship for 10 years. So
Mr. Hughes has.
10 years.
In 10 years.
Babies
he's been
by another woman.
Years.
Genetics can be wild, and it's now common knowledge that when two races mix, they can come out in all shapes and colors. Perhaps Lisa and her daughter are not aware, so the judge had to remind them.
Of course, state the obvious, which I'm hoping you know as well, being African American. You know our children come in all colors, shades.
Elijah
she told me
he was white.
She told me she didn't know who the father was. She's changed her story up different times about who's the father.
Ms. Jackson's demeanor seems to suggest that there might be some truth in Lisa's accusations. The courtroom quickly became a battlefield where accusations flew and truths were twisted. Lisa and her daughter insisted that Ms. Jackson had made a mockery of the family by claiming her son was the father.
I'm sick of all these little hookers trying to say my son is the daddy. I'm sick of it. I get babies dropped off here, dropped off there. I'm sick of it.
But
it stopped today, because that baby is not my son.
What had begun as a question about who fathered a child had erupted into a fierce clash of egos, emotions, and accusations that left the judge frustrated. So, she called on Hughes, the potential husband, to give his take on the issue.
Mr. Hughes, what is your side of this? Please stand, sir. Step up to the podium. Do you believe you are Elijah's father?
I just gave him the benefit of the doubt because I'm biracial. My father's white, so.
As the case wore on, the judge listened intently but grew increasingly frustrated. The conflicting testimonies made it impossible to discern the truth without evidence. But that's when the turning point came, the much-awaited paternity test results. It was the one thing that could silence the dispute once and for all.
Mr. Hughes, you are Elijah's father.
No! That's a lie! That's a lie! That's a lie! That's a lie! That's not true!
Now that is anger. Lisa and her daughter are so convinced that little Elijah was not their son that they doubted the DNA results and even suggested she must have interfered with it. Now it's the judge's turn to be angry.
But one thing I do know, let me tell you something as a mother. Anybody in this world that wants to clap at the thought of not being in my baby's life, don't ever have to see it.
Amen. Thank you.
Do you understand?
Because I don't want to.
You
I don't want to.
call them for anything.
A mother's love is supposed to be unconditional, but in the courtroom, it was a battlefield. Mr. Andrews stood before the judge, declaring that his ex-partner, Ms. Corbett, had betrayed him in a way that cut to the core. Not only did he doubt the paternity of the child they had together, but he accused her of forging his name on the birth certificate of 5-month-old Quinn Andrews Jr.
Mr. Andrews, you and your mother are in court today suing your ex, Ms. Corbett, for paternity fraud because you claim she forged your signature on the birth certificate of her 5-month-old son, Quinn Andrews Jr.
But his ex, standing just across the aisle, vehemently denied any wrongdoing, suggesting instead that his mother had poisoned his mind. According to Ms. Corbett, there's no way she could have possibly forged Andrews' signature.
Ms. Corbett, you say Mr. Andrews is doubting your son because he does not want to be a responsible adult and because he has a meddling mother. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
If Judge Lauren wants to get to the root of this matter, she would have to dig deep. Andrews laid out the reasons for his claim. He insisted that his name was added on the certificate without his consent.
Mr. Andrews, why do you believe your signature was forged on Quinn Jr.'s birth certificate?
I don't know, Your Honor. I didn't sign anything, and somehow my name still managed to get put on the birth certificate. I have a copy of it right here.
Let me see that birth certificate. Quinn Andrews Sr., name of father, right underneath. But you didn't sign it.
No, ma'am.
The judge, clearly skeptical, turned her attention to the birth certificate itself, searching for answers. Ms. Corbett wasted no time in defending herself. Just like all of us, she found the accusation weird.
Ms. Corbett, did you put his name on there?
No, it's no way possible for me to just put his name on a birth certificate. The only reason why he's saying that he did not sign the birth certificate is because his mother told him not to sign my child's birth certificate. I mean, anybody that has kids.
Ms. Corbett's defense was unshakable, yet her credibility took a hit as Andrews elaborated on the fractured relationship. Andrews' mother described Ms. Corbett as possessive, verbally abusive, and accused her of infidelity.
We were in a relationship, but I could never say it was actually a committed one because every time we hit a bumpy road in our relationship or we get into an argument about anything, it could be simple. Quinn is out the door, right back to his mama.
Ms. Corbett came prepared. Wait a second, let me get my popcorn. This is not going to be a walk in the park. The accusations only piled up as Andrews recounted the discovery of a Magnum wrapper under the sofa. He insisted it wasn't his and questioned whether it belonged to another man.
Your Honor, I doubt for the simple fact that while we was together, I happened to clean up the house one day where we stayed at. I found the empty Magnum wrapper under the sofa, which she claimed was mine, which it wasn't, because all of them we used, I throw away.
It was his.
Tell him about that day that you came home from work and she had another man running out the back door. Yes.
Andrews explained that his cousin, who lived across the street, had witnessed a man sneaking out of the back of the apartment. He claimed that this man, whom he suspected of being another lover, had tried to avoid being seen, further fueling his distrust. As Andrews listed one infidelity claim after another, Ms. Corbett denied them all, calling him a liar, but her words seemed to lose power with each new accusation.
This your only doubt?
No, ma'am. I have more than one.
What else?
I found messages in her phone where some guy obviously was telling her, leave the back door open and be naked when I arrive.
Oh, you saw the message?
Yes, ma'am. She denied that in my face, and I'm looking at the message in the phone. That's one reason.
The bitter back and forth between Ms. Corbett and Mr. Andrews had grown into a full-scale battle, their accusations and defenses bouncing back and forth like a relentless game. But when Andrew was supposed to take initiative, he provided an excuse and Judge Lauren goes ballistic.
Why didn't you just take your child with you?
Your Honor, I couldn't take him with me.
You didn't have a car seat?
No, ma'am. I was walking like 2 or 3 miles, so he couldn't come with me.
You can carry a 5-month-old baby 2 or 3 miles that's yours and got your name?
No, Your Honor.
The judge, caught between the animosity and the drama, tried to focus on the facts. She knew the case hinged on the paternity of little Quinn. Was he truly Andrews' son, or was this just another chapter in a deeply broken relationship?
Mr. Andrews, you are the father.
Ms. Lyde appears in courtroom, saying that the defendant, Mr. Ellis, is the man she has known to be her father for the past 26 years. Now he says he is not the father, and she's trying to find out why. Mr. Ellis, however, says that her mother was unfaithful, and he is going to prove that he is not her father. Here is how the case starts.
Ms. Lyde, you say that for 26 years you have known only one man, the defendant, Mr. Ellis, to be your biological father, and you're devastated that he is claiming you're not his.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Ellis, you say that Ms. Lyde's mother was unfaithful during your 7-year relationship and that you are certain you are not Ms. Lyde's biological father. You are here to prove that in court and to clear your name.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's odd. Ms. Lyde says that growing up has been hard for her right from her childhood. She says that she's been in and out of foster homes for as long as she can remember. If that's the case, how then has she believed for 26 years that Mr. Ellis has been her father?
And so you're saying you were in a relationship with her mother?
Yes, I was.
And it was a sexual relationship?
Yes, it was.
And it was a sexual relationship where you did not use protection?
Yes, Your Honor.
However, what you're saying is her mother also was having sex and intimate relationships with other men during that time?
Yes, Your Honor.
That story sounds hell of hilarious. Mr. Ellis claims that her mother was out partying and sleeping with several men while they were in a romantic relationship with each other. That crazy thing is he actually has no proof to back up his claim.
I gave her the papers. They garnished my check.
Mr. Ellis, explain that. You had a DNA test already.
Yes.
Explain.
When I was away, her mother called child support on me. They came and took the DNA test.
You got the results back?
I got the results back. It was 99.9 that I wasn't the father. So I showed her the paperwork.
Wow. I think her mom might have to get up from that chair she's in and tell her side of the story. Mr. Ellis says that he had a DNA test done, and the results showed that he was 99.9% not her father, and that's the reason he stopped paying child support. Could he be lying?
This was put on this DNA test got was from her through juvenile court, but they never show to court juvenile.
The bottom line is a DNA test was performed, yes or no?
Yes.
What were the results?
They say in the court 99% yes.
Well, I guess we've heard her own side of the story, and it doesn't go with what Mr. Ellis said. Apparently, she claims that a DNA test was actually done, but the results showed that Mr. Ellis was 99.9% her father, and not what he claims they showed. Interesting.
Mrs. Lyde, it's not that I'm not trying to accept you for who you are. I think you're a beautiful person. Your mother should have told you and quit lying to you. You deserve the truth.
I do deserve the truth. I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling really mad.
And you have the right to be.
What are you feeling?
I feel like, because I'm a mom, and I feel like if you are old enough.
Well said, Ms. Lyde. Well said. She loves herself, and if Mr. Ellis wants to deny her, she's good either way. All she wants is to know the identity of who her actual father is. Seems like her mother isn't even sure who the dad is at this point.
About who your father is, so you find your real father.
I feel like
That's why I called
the
the
truth.
courts.
I deserve
That's
to know
why I
what's
called the
going
courts,
on.
because you deserve the truth.
In your court papers, Ms. Lyde, you said that you made difficult and unfortunate choices with men because of this absence of a father figure, the relationship with your father.
Once again, she's right. She admits to the judge that she has also made terrible mistakes with the men she has been with, and she blames it on the fact that she never had a male figure in her life to guide her. I honestly blame her mother for all of this.
She has a little brother that she and the little brother were like twins, and the grandmother, Miss Lyde Sr.'s mother, brought the baby over in the house behind mine every day for a week and said, this is her brother. I want her to know her.
Judge Lauren will certainly add that to the list of things she had to consider. Mr. Ellis's witness, who happens to also be his mother, says that Ms. Lyde does not possess any features that would mark her as one of her genes. She also says that she actually never saw DNA results showing that her son was either the father or not the father.
It's already built the hate in her heart for me from the day I was born. Like every situation I have seen her has been trouble. Like I've seen her on the trolley when I was 10. I don't know if you remember.
You were 16.
I was 10. I saw her on a trolley where we used to live at, and I approached her.
Wow. That would definitely have broken Ms. Lyde's heart as a child. Ms. Lyde believes that Mr. Ellis's mom has always hated her right from the time she was born, and she never wanted her to be part of her family.
I don't need anybody to feel sorry for me at all, because at the end of the day, I'm blessed. I just want to know the truth.
But the DNA test told it already.
Let it go. Let it go. She's lying still.
I haven't saw anything yet.
You have to understand, Mr. Ellis, her point is she's been told her whole life you are her biological father. You say you had proof that she was not, but she hasn't seen the proof.
Yep, we are all confused. Trust me. Everybody seems to have one thing or the other to say, and the story is just not adding up. Let's see if the results are going to clear the air, and we can get to the bottom of the whole thing. Here are the results.
Mr. Ellis, you are the father.
Whoa! I knew it! Yes!
This is another case of young kids getting pregnant at a young age. Now, Ms. Jones is in court with her mom because she's tired of the defendant constantly denying her child. She knows the DNA results will prove that he is the father, and she wants him to step up to his roles. The case begins like this.
Ms. Jones, you and your mother say you are tired of the defendant's denial. He's the biological father of your 6-month-old son, and once the DNA results prove your claim, you demand to be reimbursed for Baby Lyric's child care expenses. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ha 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 ha. He did not just tell the judge that he doesn't think for himself. Let's all assume he didn't understand the question. Ms. Jones says that she broke up with him because he is so immature and can't think for himself.
She was getting confronted of cheating on me.
But I ain't never cheated on him. I have never cheated on him.
But once
his family had him believe that I was the one who was cheating on him. And it was mainly you and your husband.
You're right, because me and my daughter were catching text messages coming through your phone.
What text messages?
You were answering
what text
your phone.
messages?
I've never seen people yap and yap and yap without making any communication or conversation. Mr. Houston and his mom claim that the actual reason for their breakup was because they confronted Ms. Jones about her cheating, and that's what led to all the yelling.
I don't know why they got their idea.
When you two were dating, were you dating anyone else?
No, I was with him. I was faithful to him.
So you broke up around prom, the time right before prom?
A week before prom.
When did you find out you were pregnant?
I found out June 3rd that I was pregnant.
That was honestly the same reaction that popped out of my face. Why'd she wait for 8 months before she decided it was finally the right time to tell them she was pregnant? That just builds room for a lot of suspicion. Something is not right with that story.
Out of the picture, you said it was between her and your son?
Yes, ma'am, because it's so much drama going on. When you call somebody 8 months pregnant and say, hey, I just found your number in my old phone, so hey, you guys are too much drama. I didn't want to tell you I was pregnant.
Her story is still not making any sense. She says that she didn't want to involve Mr. Houston's family or tell them about the pregnancy because they are such dramatic people and she didn't want to deal with all the drama. Well, hello? Why is she telling them now? I mean, isn't this the same drama she was trying to avoid?
What does she have to
Wait,
do with
another girl pregnant?
Yeah, she didn't tell me until she found out she was pregnant.
Yes, Your Honor, that's how it happened.
How the heck I'm gonna know she's
Facebook,
pregnant? How I know you was
6
dating
weeks
her?
pregnant, all of a sudden the phone call came.
Yeah.
Because you know these.
Yeah, so like I
each
just
other.
And you 18 years old.
Dating her.
And there they go again with the yelling. I'm not gonna lie, it's disappointing to see that both their moms allowed this kind of mess, especially Mr. Houston's mom. Her son literally has 2 ladies pregnant, and she's acting like it's not a big deal. What the hell?
Your Honor, I asked for DNA multiple times, more than 3 times, because I already knew that me telling them at 8 months that I was pregnant, I already knew it was probably gonna be like some denial. So I offered the DNA test. And then the mom was like,
So why did the coworker say somebody else was the baby daddy?
What coworker?
Manager said.
The manager.
The manager
Your
said,
Honor,
oh, you're one
Your
of the
Honor.
guys that she's claiming to be her baby daddy.
That's just wild. That's honestly just wild. Mr. Houston's mom claims that her son is one of multiple men who might be the father. She says that the manager of the store where Mr. Houston's new girlfriend works said something relating to her son being among other men who Ms. Jones thinks is the father of her child.
You are now Mr. Houston's
girlfriend.
And you also have a child together?
Yes.
Okay. When you were working, a co-worker told you something about Ms. Jones. Am I correct?
My manager did.
What did they say?
He seen Nigel come in and he said, is this the dude that dated Nakisha? And I said, yeah, that's him.
Well, Mr. Houston's girlfriend confirms that story. But then again, did the manager just pop out of the blues and say that? Or what led to him telling her that piece of information? Sounds really fishy to me.
You said that it's not about the timing, it's about the multiple men you were sleeping with.
Yes, ma'am.
What other evidence do you have that would suggest that Ms. Jones was sleeping with more than one person?
When she broke up with my son, she dropped him for another gentleman to go to prom with. When we were actually in the car with her, she answered the phone. There was a gentleman on the other line. She acted like she did not hear it.
Honestly, I believe Ms. Jones when she says they never tried to see her child. I mean, look at how they act in the courtroom. They don't even sound like people who want to be part of the baby's life.
His age, getting ready for your prom, you should be getting ready to go on to college. Figure out what you want to do with your life. Where are we now with this? Now we've got 2 children. Miss Hasty's had a baby. You have a baby. Miss Hasty, is Mr. Houston involved in your child's life?
Yes.
At least we know now that he wants to be the father of his girlfriend's child. He says that he hasn't been there for Ms. Jones's baby because he doesn't know if he is the father. Well, the DNA results are going to reveal that answer. And here they come.
Mr. Houston, you are the father.
Boom!
Miss Jones?
Ms. Upshaw has brought 4 of her daughter-in-law's children to have them tested and know if her son is the father of her kids. Crazy, right? She says that her son, Mr. Upshaw, married a loose woman, and she feels there's a high chance that the kids belong to other men. Well, here's how the case begins.
Ms. Upshaw, you have petitioned the court for DNA tests on 4 of your daughter-in-law's children. You say you have serious doubts because your son married, and I'll use your words, a loose woman who is rumored to have multiple lovers, including an old man whom she used for money. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Wow, that definitely threw me off balance. Even the crowd could not believe that she said something like that. Anyway, Ms. Mason, the woman with the kids, says that her soon-to-be ex-husband is nothing but a mummy's boy and he can't stand up to his meddling mother.
Well, let me just ask you, Ms. Mason, is this an outfit that you would wear, say, if you were going out with Mr. Mason on a date or something?
No, Your Honor. That's the clothes that I took at home.
And wear to the club.
Now, I never wore it to the club, but I will wear it to the club.
You will?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, since I met her, it's been nothing but drama, promiscuity.
Looks like Ms. Upshaw was not wrong for saying what she initially said. There's no way on earth Ms. Mason would actually wear that out of the house. I mean, what is she? A stripper? She can't be serious.
Your Honor, this young lady and him took it amongst they said I found out they was married on Facebook.
What? Jerome, hand me that.
They didn't answer the phone for me for 2 weeks.
This is
my
what?
friend brought a Facebook post that was posted on Facebook. A young lady that I know brought up to my house said, you know your son married.
But why we gotta tell her everything? Me and her not together. Me and her son are together.
I'm sorry, but what did they just say? How do you get married and not tell your mother? Now they're making Ms. Upshaw look like she's crazy. It's very much her business if her son is getting married to someone she does not know.
I want to take care of my kids and I want to be there. That's all I want to do.
So, Mom, you shaking your head because you don't believe that these children are his.
Your Honor, I give the twins the benefit of the doubt of being my grandkids more than I do any other.
Let's start with Kayla.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to start with Kayla.
Yes, ma'am.
That's hilarious. Ms. Upshaw says that she doesn't feel Caleb, one of the kids in question, does not belong to her son because he has an old soul, and she also feels like the baby belongs to an old man she used to sleep with for money. I wonder what she's going to say next.
You had some older man that you were in a relationship with, and I want to be clear because she says sleep with an old man for money. Now I want to make sure I'm clear. Were you dating an older man?
No, he was just a friend.
So you're denying that there was ever a sexual relationship with the older man, or was there?
No, there was a sexual relationship. Yes, it was.
Oh, okay.
That's honestly not shocking coming from his mouth. The battle here has always been between Ms. Upshaw and Ms. Mason. Mr. Mason admits to knowing that she slept with an old man, but still believes he is the father of the child. I guess we'll see.
I gave her the benefit of the doubt because twins runs on his daddy's side of the family. His daddy brother got a set of twins, and his grandma and sister got a set of twins. So I gave her the benefit of the doubt. Then somebody comes telling me this other guy baby. And I did all this involve myself and them my babies. I love them twins.
She must really love those twins if she's getting emotional just talking about them. She says that she's built a bond with the twins, and it would crush her heart if the results revealed that she is not the grandmother.
The twins come from the mother producing too many eggs. So she releases a bunch of eggs, the sperm's there, they make 2 babies. As far as the father of the baby's concerned, he can bring nothing to the union with the mom to make twins at that interaction. So they can be in his family. He could pass it on to grandchildren, but he could not cause her to have twins.
Ms. Upshaw's heart might be getting crushed. The expert judge Lauren brought in to talk about twins says that twins being formed have nothing to do with the male, and that it's usually the female who's responsible for twins being formed. That didn't sit right with Ms. Upshaw.
Dramatized, like she said very fake. Like she's very fake.
Let me tell you something, y'all. Both of them fake. I'm gonna keep it like that. Both of them fake. I'm just sick and tired of it. It's just like I'm not with the drama. I'm not with it. I'm just ready to get the DNA test over with. All for mine. I'm gonna do what I gotta do. Take care of, be in that life.
I'm not even surprised they're about to get divorced. Having a mother-in-law like Ms. Upshaw would definitely drive you crazy. Mr. Upshaw is tired of their drama. All he wants to know is if the kids are his or not.
Listen, there's one more baby.
Yes, ma'am.
Brooklyn, 1 month old. Beautiful little girl. You have doubts surrounding the paternity of Brooklyn as well.
Ma'am, young, this is my first time ever seeing that little baby right here.
You've never seen her?
Never.
No.
Never.
No.
Then
you never saw her either?
Did you have it?
Ain't say me, I'm talking about mom.
Did you ever have an opportunity to see her?
On my way, the day when I taught the show and I had talked to someone who about the show, my son had talked to her. I got on the train, I was going downtown.
Once again, it's really not shocking that she's seeing that baby for the first time. They kept their marriage a secret. I doubt there's nothing they can't keep from here. Oh well, enough with their drama. Here are the results from the DNA test.
Mr. Mason, you are the father. Are you ready for the next result, Miss Mason?
Yes.
When it comes to 1 month old Brooklyn Mason, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Mason, you are the father. When it comes to 2-year-old twins, Carrie and Kawan Mason, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Mason, you are the father.
Woo.
Ms. Fisher is in the courtroom today to prove that the defendant, Mr. Stewart, is her daughter's biological father. Mr. Stewart says that he knows Ms. Fisher was with multiple partners during the window of conception, and also says that she's trying to pin the baby on him because she knows that he is a good father. Well, here's how the whole thing started.
Ms. Fisher, you're here to prove that Mr. Stewart is your daughter Kalia's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
You state that your daughter has a serious medical condition, and it is imperative that you know the father's medical history. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, clearly all Ms. Fisher wants out of this case is to know who her baby's father is. Her daughter has a condition, and she wants to know if the father has the same condition so she can give her daughter the necessary care and medication that she needs.
A week after we started messing around, you know, she come out and she showed me a pregnancy test. I'm like, it's not my baby.
So a week after you all started having a sexual relationship, she brings you a pregnancy test and says she's pregnant?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
So you don't believe you're the father of her child?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Fisher, tell me what happened.
I woke up one morning, I wasn't feeling well, and I've been pregnant before, so I pretty much knew before I took the test I was pregnant.
Can she really blame him? They got into a sexual relationship, and after a week she says she's pregnant? Even I would not accept the baby. That right there looks like she's actually trying to pin the baby on Mr. Stewart.
After this is over, did the relationship continue?
Yes, he was just at my house like a week and a half ago.
I got bored. I got bored,
You got bored?
Yes, sure.
When you get bored, you go over Miss Fisher's house and have unprotected sex?
Sometime.
He did not just say that to Judge Lauren. He better tread carefully. He is about to get on Judge Lauren's nerves, and he is not going to like that. Oh well, Ms. Fisher admits that they were together in bed just a week before the court case. They must really love each other's company.
What do you know and how do you know it?
Well, she named another potential father as the biological father, and then on top of that, another man signed the birth certificate.
Wait a minute. She named another man as the biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Which man is this?
Mr. Kern.
Mr. Kern?
Yes, Your Honor.
He's in court today, but the second part of your statement was...
This doesn't even make any sense. She initially said that he was not around when she gave birth to the child. Her daughter has another man's name on the birth certificate, and now she's saying that he chose to give her daughter his last name? What in the world is going on?
So, Miss Fisher, Mr. Kern, who we're going to hear from in a second, let's talk about your relationship with him. Were you intimate with him as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you intimate with him during the time you were also intimate with Mr. Stewart?
Yes, ma'am.
Was this during the window of conception?
Yes.
Did you use protection with Mr.?
No.
Well, newsflash, that doesn't count, Ms. Fisher. That doesn't count. As long as you slept with him without using protection, there's a high chance he could be a possible father. But why on earth would she be sleeping with two different men during the window of conception? That's just wrong.
Biological father, were you aware of this?
Yes, ma'am. I'm not denying that I'm not her father. I'm denying because Miss Fisher, she always been lying to me, you know what I'm saying? Because we already done went through this one time with an older child.
What do you mean?
We started inboxing each other on Facebook.
It always starts with Facebook, don't it, Jerome?
Yeah, we started inboxing each other, you know what I'm saying? Then we got real cornered, you know. We decided we wanted to.
Wow, Ms. Fisher must really be on her game. The other man she had a sexual relationship with walked into the courtroom and said that this is not his first rodeo with Ms. Fisher. She did this same thing with her first child. What a woman. Paternity issue with 2 kids? Come on.
No, I was devastated. I was crushed about it.
So now there is a paternity question as it relates to Kalia, another baby. Were you intimate with Miss Fisher during the window of time in which Kalia was conceived?
Yes, Your Honor, I was.
Without using protection?
Yes, Your Honor.
This is just ridiculous. Were you all in a relationship? Were you commit? What was it?
Man, it was just, you know, I know you listen to songs, right?
You better listen to that advice. Seems like every time he listens to it, he ends up in a paternity issue with Ms. Fisher. Oh well, as you'd expect, he and Ms. Fisher were not in a romantic relationship. It was all about kicking in bed and having a good time.
And so right now she indicated the doctors were trying to determine whether or not a surgery would be needed.
So they would put a patch over that hole and try to keep the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood from touching.
How is it genetically linked, if at all?
So that's a difficult answer. There's lots of factors that come into play. There's toxins that can be exposed, the child can be exposed to in utero.
That's right, the stakes are very high, and this is no joke at all. Her daughter has a serious medical condition and she needs to find the father so she can avoid any catastrophic situation. The crazy part is none of these men have any heart conditions.
It's a shame that you're running around having sex with no protection and making babies and still doing it, where you could potentially make another one and be in the same position as this one. This is not a game. Miss Fisher, when you hear this and you talk about wanting your child to know who her biological father is, do you understand now the part you have to play in that lack of knowing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Let's hope all the scolding goes into their heads. None of them men want to accept that they are the fathers of the kids. I'm sure the DNA results will reveal the truth. Let's see what they have to say.
Mr. Kern, you are not the father. Mr. Stewart, you are not the father.
After finding out she had a terminal illness, Ms. Holshoe seeks to uncover the true identity of who her biological father is, only to find out the most shocking surprises on her journey. It's one roller coaster to the next in this episode.
Ms. Holshoe, you claim your mother had an affair with the defendant's father, and today you're in court to prove that he is your biological father. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Ms. Howard, you and your sisters say Ms. Holshoe is a delusional troublemaker whose promiscuous mother destroyed your family and ruined your home. You say Ms. Holshoe is dragging your father's name through the mud, and there is absolutely no way she is related to you. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Now things get really heated in a matter of seconds. It felt like they all hated themselves from their previous lives. Apparently, the alleged father had passed away, but his daughters, for sure, weren't going to welcome Ms. Holshoe with open arms.
And also, I'm in the obituary as his daughter.
You are?
Yes, I am, ma'am.
That was a big mistake that her name was put into the obituary. Our father's sister did that.
No.
And did not tell any of us about it. Our father didn't even mention her.
Ms. Holshoe found out she had a real dad in the most awkward way. Trust me, your mind isn't going to believe what you're about to hear. Her stepdad and mom were having an argument. Boom! The bomb drops, and she can't believe what she hears.
Because my stepdad was drunk and he was fighting with my mother, and he said, well, who do you think your father is? And so after that, my mother told me, and she took me and introduced me to DL, and we had a relationship.
Now, the sisters, for sure, weren't going easy on Ms. Holshoe. They felt she was an imposter who was trying to spoil their family's name. They stood their ground and denied every single thing Ms. Holshoe said in the courtroom. Trust me, it was quite a show.
I was 19 at the time.
So you remember this day?
Oh, with clearly, like it was yesterday. They were sitting in a booth with my dad across from her and her mother. I was standing at the end, and he said, I just brought you guys here to let you know that she's your sister. And that was the one and only time that my dad ever mentioned her till the day he died.
Some really interesting stories started to fly around the courtroom. Everyone was trying to air out their minds and beliefs. In the process, some nasty revelations jumped out. Trust me, they weren't nice, and some of it was just super fishy. But Ms. Holshoe stood her ground by saying,
My father had gone to at the bar where her mother was working and caught her cheating on him. That gave me
No topic.
The thought that obviously her mother probably has no idea who any of her children belong to.
It's not my fault you guys don't want to know me. It's not my fault that your dad had sex with my mother, and I'm a product of that.
The courtroom was pretty heated up at this point, with both parties throwing shade at each other. Another one of their sisters walks into the courtroom. Surprisingly, she's on Ms. Holshoe's side. She believes that there is a chance that Ms. Holshoe is her sister. Now that's interesting, wouldn't you say?
I believe that she is.
You do? Tell the court why.
Because my father told me that she was.
She just needs a family, Your Honor, because her whole family, she's shut out. They've shut her out because she's such a devil.
Tell me about that moment when you were informed or your father told you.
Well, we were out one day, and I was about 19, and he said that he wanted me to meet one of his girlfriends. Okay, I had met several of them before.
Now she had quite a lot to say. Not only did she back up Ms. Holshoe's claim of being their sister, she also said their father was no saint. He was also messing around with other women. Wow.
He is our hero to this day. And I'm not going to bash him, but yes, he loved women, and that's just the way it was. Some men hunt, some men don't.
Okay, well said. Now, your sisters seem to think that Ms. Holshoe's just trying to stir the pot. She's trying to get into your family. You two are best friends, and you all want to be sisters. And
well, it's time to spill the beans on whether she was really his daughter or if it was all a joke. All eyes are on the judge as she gets ready to give the final verdict.
It has been determined by this court that the probability of half-siblingship between Diana Howard and Misty Lynn Holshoe is 98.1%.
This is Ms. Austin's third time on paternity court. She's no stranger to proving her children's paternity to Mr. Wallace, who once again has doubts that her 9-month-old son is his. Mind you, she's pregnant with a third child by him, and she and Mr. Wallace aren't even together. It's a crazy case, and here is how it begins.
Last time we was here, everything started out okay. But we all knew that wasn't gonna last long. Roniel Wallace was still bouncing back from me and Kendrelyn. I had enrolled in school, but I never did go because I had got pregnant once again with Roniel. And she got pregnant with her baby, with her son. And as you can see now, once again, I'm pregnant again.
Seems like these three are in a polyamorous relationship and don't even know it. Two women taking turns getting pregnant for one man is just so silly. And every single time this happens, Mr. Wallace doubts he is responsible for the pregnancies. Why then is he messing around with women he doesn't trust?
Because she's very promiscuous. When we was together, I had installed, it was like spyware on her phone. It's what they would duplicate her text messages and call log and send a copy to my email. And again, for about the 5th, 6th time, I called her texting different men.
Didn't see that one coming? If he truly believes she's promiscuous, why does he keep having children with her? One child wasn't enough, so you had a second, and now there's a third on the way. Yet you call her a slut. The same woman who might soon be the mother of 3 of your kids? Crazy.
If I'm dead, so why you keep on sleeping with me? Why? 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 I'm pregnant again. Why? Why? Why?
Easy access.
Right. You say that about
All
her.
right.
Yeah. So
Why
now.
do you keep allowing me to sleep
Cool.
with
I'm gonna
you?
keep on just because I know that you with her.
Okay, this is serious. Ms. Austin's question is very valid. Why did he keep sleeping with her if she thought she was promiscuous? And why on earth is his girlfriend, Ms. Roberts, so mad? Was she really going to hit her in front of a judge?
Because I was hurt
But if you
by trying to get back to Aunt Rangel for the things that he has done to me.
And so at the end of the day, you all can see now that two wrongs never make a right. And then you were wrong for being pregnant and talking to other men and expecting him to then believe your child is his child automatically.
Cheating on your partner is no payback for their infidelity. It will cost you two at the end of the day, as we can see with Ms. Austin and Mr. Wallace. 3 potential babies together, yet they don't see eye to eye. What a terrible situation.
I feel like we have certain features, but you can't just base it all off look.
They have the same chin.
Let me see that. Is that evidence you'd like to present?
Yes.
Okay. Walk me through what these pieces of evidence are. The first piece is
The chin. You see that chin? Look at their feet.
so you say their feet are alike,
Yeah.
but they don't change your mind.
No, ma'am. It's just like you go to a police lineup. They put you in there with 6 other men who look just like you.
Really? His feet and chin? Those are the features you chose to compare? It's valid, but kind of funny. At the end of the day, though, as Mr. Wallace said, it's not really about the looks, is it?
A family. And I did what I had to do to move into the apartment, Your Honor. I do everything for him. I stood by his side when he had his apartment. He went through a lot, and I was there by his side. Never left. And I could have left. I could have walked away. I had a family. I could have walked away, but I didn't. I stood by his side in earth because he left me. He keeps leaving me.
You can't but feel pity for Ms. Austin. She loves this man. Yet he keeps treating her like trash and walking away every time. This information and the fact that they have been here 3 times show how irresponsible the man is. It is such a shame.
He left my house. He leaves my house and goes spends the night out at Kendrick's house, with his stuff still being at my house until I took it to his mom's house, and that's where his stuff been at ever since. He just came back to my house not long ago like 3 days ago, because him and Kendrick had a fight.
When you just broke down a moment ago, I felt for you.
These women are at fault too, letting Mr. Wallace waltz in and out of their lives whenever he pleases. If none of them stands up to put an end to this mess, they might just find themselves on paternity court for a 4th time.
It's determined today that Mr. Wallace is Ronell's father. Is that what you're hoping?
Yes.
You are?
Yes.
And Mr. Wallace, what are you hoping for today?
I'm just agitated.
You feel agitated?
Yes.
Tell me.
Because of the bull crap performance she put on. Look, well, I need to walk out.
Whoa, that explosion was unexpected. Mr. Wallace insists Ms. Austin is putting on a show and Judge Lauren is falling for it. He's angry because the judge is taking her side. This is a whole new level of reaction.
I'm not gonna let you leave here thinking I'm taking anybody's side. I'm asking the questions that need to be asked. Now we're gonna get you these results because you came here because you wanted to know, right?
Yes.
Are you Ronell's father?
Great, let's find out what the DNA results say and put an end to this drama.
Mr. Wallace, you are Ronell's father.
Mr. Jackson says that 41 years ago, he was falsely accused of fathering a child, and that accusation has ruined his life in all ramifications. He hopes to prove today that he is not the father of the defendant, Ms. Jackson. Ms. Jackson, on the other hand, claims that he is the only man she has ever called dad, and she has no idea why he is trying to deny her. The case starts this way.
Mr. Jackson, you say that 41 years ago, you were falsely accused of fathering a little girl, and that accusation has ruined your life, cost you tens of thousands of dollars, steady employment, and your health. Today, you are here to prove the defendant is not your daughter. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
That's sad. Judging from what he just said, it seems like Mr. Jackson has been through a great deal of stress, having to take care of Ms. Jackson and be her father. But if he claims to not be the father, why then was he named as her father?
I've been paying support since I was maybe 30, Your Honor. I started working for a private contractor. For 18 years, Your Honor, I did not know that I owed child support. And I get a job with a paycheck. It's when I find out I owe child support.
Damn. Now it makes sense when he says that child support ruined his life. $25,000 in debt is crazy. The fact that he is even 63 years of age makes it 10 times worse. The question still remains. How did he end up paying for a child he claims not to be his? This definitely didn't happen out of the blue.
And it mentioned, things like, he didn't think that, he was the only man that my mom slept with. And
How old were you when he was saying this?
I was like 9 or 10 or 11 years old.
At 9 or 10, you were having to process that information?
Yes.
Oh, so that's what she means when she calls him her homie. Interesting. Ms. Jackson says that she had a relationship with Mr. Jackson, but it was not the father-daughter type of relationship you would expect. A homie can't be your dad, that's for sure.
The time I was married, and I knew it was wrong, but I did it.
So what happened when she told you she was pregnant?
I told her it was not my child, Your Honor.
Did you say that because you didn't believe that was your child? Or did you say that because you knew you were married and you knew you were wrong?
At that time, I believed a little both, Your Honor.
Okay, that's honest. I want to know.
Yes.
His wife must really love him. Going back to him after he cheated on her with Ms. Jackson's mother? Wow. At least he admitted to the fact that he denied the child because he didn't want it to ruin his marriage. But denying a child doesn't mean the child isn't yours.
How did you know as a child that he knew, Mr. Jackson, where you and your mother were?
Well, he's on my birth certificate first and foremost.
He is?
Yes, he's on my birth certificate.
Okay. Do you have that birth certificate here?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it. Jerome, can you hand me that? So, did you know you were on the birth certificate?
No,
did you
I didn't.
sign
I
it?
never signed nothing, Your Honor.
Now I see what's going on. Mr. Jackson's name is on her birth certificate, but he says that he never signed the birth certificate because he was never at her birth. She also claims that the name written on the certificate is what Ms. Jackson's mother used to call him, meaning she's the one that put the name on the birth certificate. Wow.
So that I could buy ice cream. And he told me he didn't have it. And I said, well, do you have 10 cents, 15 cents,
Juanisha.
a nickel? And he said that he didn't have either or. But I would see him go to the liquor store and buy alcohol or whatever he would, buy for himself, but he couldn't even give me 25 cents.
Ouch. That is coming from a place of heart. You can tell from the way she's talking and looking at Mr. Jackson dead in the eyes. He really hurt her as a kid, and it seems like she has not forgiven him for all the trauma he put her through.
Have family members that stutter as well.
And then she talked about, in her testimony just recently, having to deal with a slight level of stuttering. Is the severity or lack thereof any indicator?
No, you can have someone in a family who is severely, profoundly a stutterer, and then you can also have someone that is a mild stutterer as well.
Even with the expert analysis, Mr. Jackson sticks to his story and says that Ms. Jackson is not his daughter. Phew, it's honestly starting to get tiring at this point. If only her mom was here to give her side of the story. Maybe trying to get the truth won't be so difficult.
This is your stepfather?
Yes.
And what testimony would you like to offer to this court today?
Well, as far as my dad, he's cool, and I know that growing up, it was hard for him to do what he wanted to do for us because he had no money. We still ate, we still had clothes and everything,
And there goes the confession from Mr. Jackson's stepson. He claims that his dad would never have denied Ms. Jackson if he knew that she was his daughter. Even with the debt he owed, Mr. Jackson always made sure his kids were well taken care of. At this point, I think we should see the results.
Mr. Jackson Jr., you are her father.
Mrs. Strickland needs to prove to her husband that he is the father of their 4-year-old daughter, Nancy, because their marriage is on the verge of a collapse. Mr. Strickland needs the DNA results today because he is up and ready to leave if he finds out he is not the father of the child. Well, let's get to the bottom of it all, shall we?
Ms. Strickland, you have brought your husband to court to prove he is the biological father of your 4-year-old daughter, Nancy. You say your marriage is strained and claim positive paternity results will save your relationship. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Looks like there's trouble in paradise for these two. Mrs. Strickland begins by telling the judge that she loves her husband so much and would never betray his trust for anything in the world. If that's true, what's making him doubt that he is the father?
Take me back to how you met.
We'd met online on a dating site, and we talked on there for probably 6 or 7 months. And then I got her phone number and called her, and we talked for a while, and we were really good friends. We stayed best friends. We tried dating at that point in time. Unfortunately, I was in a bad relationship.
That's really beautiful to listen to. It's as if Mrs. Strickland was the woman who had come to fill the empty spaces in his life. It's crazy that all that sweetness and love has turned into him thinking that his wife has been unfaithful to him.
Obtain a home for us, and a new city, and I was looking for a job. And in the 11 months, I went back and forth from where we were living in Dyersburg to Memphis, back and forth. And in that time, it created jealousy issues. He thought that maybe I was seeing other people while I was going down to Memphis to see my children.
Let's be honest, that would make anybody start to have suspicions. Mr. Strickland says that when she initially started moving between cities, he did not have an issue with it. The issue started when she no longer wanted him around and started to change her attitude towards him.
Dawn over there, and she'd been to Memphis for probably about a week. And it was kind of rough because, of course I missed her, I loved her. And when she got back, it was the same thing as before. It was, she didn't want me around her, she didn't want me near her.
Well, if there's anything we know, it's the fact that they both see things from two separate perspectives. Mrs. Strickland says that Mr. Strickland was the one who lost his affection for her belly while she was pregnant. Mr. Strickland claims that she was the one who was being distant.
When they first brought the birth certificate in, I had signed the paperwork. They refused it because me and her were not legally married. She was still legally married to her ex-husband.
Oh.
So they brought in the second birth certificate. She requested to have her maiden name put on it.
Okay.
They said there wasn't a problem with that. She signs the paperwork, they send it off, we wait in the mail for it to come in.
And finally, the big bombs start to drop. Mr. Strickland shows his evidence where his wife refused the information under the father section of the baby's birth certificate. I wonder what excuse she's gonna have for doing that.
Contact the court. Well, I decided to contact the court myself. And I found out I literally could walk in there and within 6 months have it done. All I had to do, I could file a petition for the court for a paternity test. Once it was situated and it was proven whether I was the father or not, I go to the county clerk and then pay my money.
Man, do I love a man who knows how to go about his business? Haha. Mrs. Strickland looks like you have a lot of explaining to do. Mr. Strickland says that changing the name of the birth certificate won't take up to 6 months. Their daughter is 4 years old now, and she still hasn't done it. That's all shades of fishy.
Mr. Strickland, is this the only doubt you have? Do you have any other doubt?
She had actually started talking to a guy on the same site we were on that me and her met. And I'd seen the texts. I stopped that immediately.
So you saw text messages in her phone?
Yes, in her phone.
What did the messages say?
Things talking about how beautiful she was, how much he'd like to get to know her, how much he'd like to get to meet her.
Well, that explains why her husband is finding it difficult to believe that she's telling him the truth. In her previous relationship, she was unfaithful to her ex-husband. And let's not forget the fact that Mr. Strickland caught her texting another man. His doubts are very much validated.
I actually have those pictures.
I'd like to see them. Jerome, will you hand me that evidence, please?
Yep.
Please describe to the court what these pictures
Those are
indicate.
pictures that I actually myself have taken.
So you took the pictures,
Yes.
but she sent them to another man.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm not going to lie. If I were to be in that same situation, I would lose my mind. It would feel like I was sharing her with another man. That definitely had to hurt when he found out. All right, I think we've seen enough. Let's get down to the bottom of this whole drama. Here are the results.
Mr. Strickland, you are the father.
All her life, Ms. Lewis has known herself to be Daddy's little angel. She is devastated now that her daddy, Mr. Palmer, is saying that he is not her father. Mr. Palmer, on the other hand, says that he has always known he was not her father. Trust me, it's a crazy case, but here's how it all starts.
Ms. Lewis, you are devastated that after being Daddy's little girl, you are now forced to drag your father to court to prove that you are his biological daughter. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
There's no way that would not have hurt her as a child. Ms. Lewis says that her dad, or supposed to be dad, broke the news to her when she was 13, that he was not her father in front of all her other siblings. Who does that?
Mr. Palmer, do you remember this day that she says you gathered everybody up?
Yes, Your Honor.
Why would you gather everybody up and tell her she's not your biological daughter?
Because I knew all the time she wasn't my daughter, and I just thought it was just time to tell her.
It always starts with the rumors, doesn't it? Mr. Palmer says that he loved her mother and they were inseparable at the time. They were even supposed to get married, but his friends called him a fool because they told him that she had been moving around with another guy.
Pink and white. I never will forget that. I was in love with her.
What happened with Ford, the car? What you said you were...
That was her boyfriend's car.
That was the boyfriend's car.
He was in there driving.
Was she in the car when you saw her?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you see?
She laid down, her leg was sticking out the side of the car.
Well, I guess we now know why his friends were calling him a fool for claiming to want to marry her mother. Mr. Palmer claims that Ms. Lewis's mother had a boyfriend, and he could remember how they used to play love in the boyfriend's car. But Ms. Lewis claims that her mother denied all of that and told her it was not true. Phew.
Reached out. Me and my sister reached out to him.
Well, that's what I'm curious about as well. So at this point where you have this bomb dropped on you at 13 years old, and you're told that he's not your biological father, where does it go from there?
When he told me I didn't come back for about 4 years, 3 or 4 years. I think when I came back, I was, 17?
I mean, in that picture, they sure do look alike. What still makes the whole case a mystery is why Mr. Palmer decided to take care of her and be there as a father when he believed all this, while that he was not her biological father. Who knows, maybe he's just a good man. We'll see.
That's right, Your Honor.
Did you bring any proof of that?
Over here, Your Honor, right here.
I'd like to see it.
From the time I left for war in May 1968.
Let me follow along with you. So this is your timeline. You say you left to go to war.
In May of 68.
May of 68. Let me first say thank you for your service.
Going by the explanation and the evidence he just displayed in the courtroom, he does have a point. The dates of when he was at war and when Ms. Lewis was born just do not add up. I think we can understand why he claims to not be her father.
Is September 6, 1969 your birthday?
Yes, Your Honor.
It is, in fact, your birthday.
Yes, Your Honor.
And so when Mr. Palmer outlines this chain of events, his conclusion is that you would have had to been conceived sometime in November of 1968.
Oh, it definitely does, Judge Lauren. It definitely does. Apparently, Mr. Palmer had moved on and got into another relationship with another woman, and that's why he continued to deny that he was and is not Ms. Lewis's father.
You are her brother.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Do you believe Mr. Palmer is Ms. Lewis's biological father?
Yes, ma'am, I do. I was there. I was there when he told her that he was not her father, but I believe that.
Oh, you were there on that day at the farm?
Yes, ma'am, I was. Yes, Your Honor.
The look on his face says it all. One of Mr. Palmer's kids steps in and says that he has another sibling who was born around the same time with Ms. Lewis, and Mr. Palmer was around to take care of the child and be a father to him. Why then is he denying Ms. Lewis?
Child of yours, born to you and your wife, born September 14th, 1969, just 8 days after when Ms. Lewis was born.
That's right, Your Honor.
So if you were there to conceive this child, why wouldn't you be there to conceive that child?
I probably got home on a leave or something like that. I left on leave. I don't know exactly.
Come on now, Mr. Palmer. That has to be the dumbest excuse I have ever heard. I mean, both children were born with a difference of just 8 days. I have a feeling he just doesn't want to tell the truth. He was definitely around during that period.
He missed out on a whole lot. He missed out on my graduations. I wanted my daddy to walk me down the aisle when I got married. He wasn't there for that. I have 5 girls and 1 son. And that 1 son I had, I would have loved for my dad to be there, and he wasn't there. But I know this turnout is gonna be.
Believe me, I'm also praying that the results reveal Mr. Palmer to be her father. If it doesn't turn out that way, Ms. Lewis is going to be heartbroken. Oh well, here are the results. Let's see what they have in store for us.
Mr. Palmer, you are her father.
Ms. Curtis has been left homeless and is in need of help because the defendant, Mr. Buckley, has refused to accept being the father to her child. Mr. Buckley says that all she has done is cheat and lie, and that the results would prove that he is not the father of the child in question. Here's how it begins.
Ms. Curtis, you say this court date is extremely important to you. You're here to prove to your ex-fiance, Mr. Buckley, that he fathered your 22-month-old son, Xavier, because his denial has left you homeless and in need of help.
Yes, Your Honor.
Damn. Going from having a home to sleeping in a homeless shelter with a child is devastating. Ms. Curtis is definitely hurt by the situation. Even talking about it makes her tear up. I really wonder how they got to this level.
His landlord sent me an eviction notice. I had just had surgery.
Is that true, Mr. Buckley?
Yes, that is true, Your Honor, but I allowed her to live in my apartment at that time. I was being nice to her. She got mad at me because I was with someone else.
This is gonna be one hell of a case. Mr. Buckley says that he did not want a relationship with Ms. Curtis, and when he told her this, she said that she would make his life a living hell. That's the only reason he kicked her out of the house.
So you don't believe you can have children?
No, Your Honor.
Why?
Your Honor, I was in a relationship before, and we tried to conceive a child. We went to fertility specialists, and we were on medicine and kept up with ovulation dates and the whole 9.
Even my eyebrows are raised after hearing that. Mr. Buckley confesses and says that he has never been able to get any woman pregnant in not one but 2 different relationships. So for Ms. Curtis to come out of the blue and say she's pregnant, it definitely sounds suspicious.
Whose is it?
No, you didn't.
That's pretty much what I said.
No, you said you told every other girl you were in a relationship with, congratulations, who's the father? But I was different, that you were willing to step up and be his father, which you haven't done.
I haven't done that because of you.
Because of me?
Yes.
It's just a drive away.
Not Judge Lauren looking at these 2 grown adults like they're having a chaotic family session. Well, Mr. Buckley says that Ms. Curtis had her own apartment, and he has no idea why she never wanted to leave his own apartment.
Spending Christmas with you? Who was I having sex with? Your brothers? Your uncle?
No.
What happened during the conception period? It was during the holidays?
Yes, it was Christmas.
She told
I was
me-
supposed
she-
to go home for Christmas, and I couldn't afford to go home. So he volunteered for me to spend Christmas with him and his family.
Well, he started it. He definitely deserved that after saying she had plenty of hours to sleep around. Oh well, they continue with their back and forth yelling, and they just keep dropping truth bombs. Judge Lauren better step in before they rip each other apart.
So take me to the day you gave birth, Miss Curtis.
I was in labor for 13 and a half hours. Mr. Buckley was with me for the whole 13 and a half hours. I have pictures of him at the hospital.
I'd like to see those.
I ended up having to have an emergency C-section because little Xavier's oxygen level dropped and he was in distress.
Would you blame her for falling in love? I mean, she literally just said that Mr. Buckley went into tears when he heard that the baby might not make it during surgery. Why then is he acting like he never cared about the baby?
Something that we made together, something that I never thought was possible.
Something that I don't think is possible, Your Honor.
But in this photo, it doesn't look like. I see tears in your eyes, Mr. Buck. What do you feel when you look at that picture?
It's impossible to describe. There's no way to put it into words.
Let's just say the battle is between Mr. Buckler's mind and heart. Deep down in his heart, he wants the child to be his because he wants to be a father, but his brain constantly tells him that it's not possible because he has tried and failed more than once in his previous relationships.
Bunch. Miss Bunch, you are Mr. Buckley's
friend.
All right. And what information do you have concerning Xavier's paternity?
Your Honor, I have a lot of information. I actually brought a sketch with me.
I would like to see it. The exhibit here?
This right here, Your Honor, this is my house, my back door. And this is Mrs. Curtis' front door. And as you can see...
Okay, I guess we know why his doubts are strong. Mr. Buckler's friend walks up and explains that she knew that Miss Curtis had a boyfriend, and aside from that, she was also sleeping with several other men. It's crazy that she found out all of this from her back door.
Certificate, father's name, Xavier Buckley.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's you.
Correct.
You signed it voluntarily.
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
And is there a child support order?
Yes, Your Honor.
There is.
Yes.
How much per week are you obligated to pay?
I'm not exactly sure.
He was supposed to pay $216 a month.
And there they go again with their yapping. Ms. Curtis says that he is in child support debt because he quit his job, all because he does not want to do anything for her child. Honestly, I think we've seen enough of their drama. Here are the results.
Mr. Buckley, you are not his father.
She had sex with 2 men on the same day she conceived her baby. In total, there are 10 men she slept with within her window of conception. Mr. Crisp and Ms. Hewlett are about to have a long day with Judge Lake at paternity court today. Here's how the case begins.
With my first son, he wasn't there. I did it myself. I was working, he was partying, I was left alone at home. He was never there.
And this forced you to cheat?
Yes, Your Honor. Because he wasn't there. I mean, I had no one. I did it all myself. I was, it was just me.
Ah yes, Mr. Crisp was never really present. This provided the go-ahead in Ms. Crisp's head to cheat. She simply cannot call her husband out and give an ultimatum. Oh no, she just had to cheat. And oh boy, did she cheat.
My dad just passed away. I was sad that he passed away, so I just got out and partied. I guess I really didn't care. I felt bad about it.
So you had been through a tragic loss.
Yes, Your Honor.
You felt comfort in partying and you just started doing the wrong thing.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, Mr. Crisp. This entire thing seems like a whole lot of miscommunication and bad decisions. If he was feeling overwhelmed after his father died, why then did Ms. Hewlett find it extremely difficult to see through that and simply talk to him about it?
This cheating has led you to the doubt regarding the paternity of your son, Bentley.
Yes, Your Honor. He doesn't look nothing like me. He got blonde hair, blue eyes.
He looks just like
he looks
me,
like Dennis
though.
the Menace.
So handsome.
Plus, she told me he's cheated on me. I've had friends tell me.
Whoa, Did he just say that baby Bentley looks like Dennis the Menace? These couples come in with a whole new taste for drama each time. Here we go again with the semblance card in court. If baby Bentley has blonde hair and blue eyes, the features of the mother really don't matter then. It's always the father's physical features that are expressed on the genes after all.
Pregnant with Bentley, and I had wrote him a letter telling him about, it was about 10 people, 10 of them.
And you admitted that you had been with 10 other men.
Yes, Your Honor.
Phew, so there really were at least 10 people she had sex with during her window of conception. How exactly is Ms. Hewlett bothered that Mr. Crisp does not think he is the father? How does that play out in her head? You tell him that you're pregnant, but you've been with 10 others. And she expects him to believe that he's the Messiah and the chosen one.
Fight before, and she says, well, you just need to go on because you're not really his father anyways. A little later, she wants to call me on the phone and say, well, Noah's what's my oldest son, he wants you back. I don't want to have nothing to do with you, but you need to come live with me, you know, like I'm supposed to.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. On top of all of the uncertainty associated with the entire conception date, she still brought out the "you're not the real father anyway" card. With all of this, she's in disbelief that Mr. Crisp keeps denying baby Bentley. It looks like someone's not the sharpest tool in the shed.
Did you tell him he was not Bentley's father?
I have said that, Your Honor.
In your heart of hearts, did you think he really wasn't Bentley's father?
At times I do think he's not.
And you say the other gentleman is now deceased?
Yes, ma'am, he is.
Wait a minute, even Ms. Hewlett has her doubts, and that wraps up this case on paternity court. Everyone should really go home. If she already admits to not knowing whether or not the baby is Mr. Crisp's, what are we all doing here?
Really doesn't look like Joe, but I hope he is Joe's, because that way I made the mistake of Paula's dad could be 3 different men. And I want to break that cycle, because if Bentley has a different dad, he needs to know that when he gets older.
Hold up, so this is a generational thing? Oh, Ms. Bergen, did your ex-husband cheat on you too? Was that why there were 2 other prospective fathers involved in your daughter's birth? And to wait till she was 11 before she told her about it, isn't that just something?
I mean, I was the only one that worked. I was the only one trying to take care of everything.
I was trying to work all the time. People just didn't pay me.
Now, I have a grand question that I'd love answered. If you weren't happy in the relationship...
Dang, Judge Lake hit the spot. She hit the nail right on the head too. All of this bickering from Ms. Hewlett was capped shut by one grand question. If Ms. Hewlett continues to make excuses as to why she can't leave Mr. Crisp, this would be an unending cycle of cheating and unhappiness. She's already down by 10 men. Would she get to 50?
I'm not happy, you're not here, and yet you keep repeating the same cycle over and over again. Either you're physically unavailable because you're out partying or locked up.
Phew, it looks like Judge Lake is putting both mother and father in their place today. Now, after all of this, one can only hope that both parties actually become complacent about their mistakes and do something about them. Baby Bentley is their responsibility, and they do need to understand that. Now, let's get the results.
Mr. Crisp, you are his father.
Ms. Williams and her 2 sisters are in court today because their mother's past promiscuous behavior led to them growing up without knowing their fathers. Their mom, Ms. Liddell, is also here to finally put an end to the paternity mystery because her daughters still punish her for past mistakes.
It was this man who was supposedly had been my father, and we were all wanting to know, like his family, him, my aunt that raised me and Jasmine, we wanted the paternity test. We were all there and ready.
This is about to be one chaotic case. One thing that we know already is that these girls do not like their mother. And maybe, just maybe, the mother doesn't like them too. Let's find out more.
As growing up, family members would say, no, he's not your father. It was just a rumor going around that.
Who is that?
James.
The man who's going to appear in court today and has been tested?
Yes.
All right, so how do you start getting doubt?
When I was about 17 years old, me and her had an argument.
It's tasking trying to understand the issue at hand. The girls grew up thinking a particular man, James, was their father, but their mom would say during arguments that he wasn't. And then, this Mr. James doesn't treat all the girls equally because he doesn't think they're all his.
He calls out her name. Who are you? You talking about some, so you don't know who I am. Talking about some, I don't know. You talking about some, yes you do. She talking about some, oh, Lisa, they're your daddy. How is you not gonna know this is my daddy when you look at him? But you tell, that's your daddy.
I was never there for them. I'll give him that. I wasn't about nothing.
Whew, This family has more problems than paternity court can fix. The youngest, Lisa, doesn't believe James is her father. All 3 girls still carry the pain of being abandoned by their mother and left with relatives. However, their mother has her reasons for doing so.
Do you know who her father is?
I don't know. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be honest. Jamie, no. Lisa, no. Jasmine, no. I'm not for sure if James is their father, if he's not their father. Because I was whorish. I did me. I ran the streets. Okay, you can keep your slab remarks. I was whorish.
It's easy to see where the girls are coming from. The woman has no idea who the father of any of her 3 kids is. This means that even Mr. James Williams might not be the father of any of them.
Deep in my heart, Your Honor, and I hate to say it, and it's hurting me to say it too, but no, I do not.
You don't act like it, so it shouldn't be hurting you. He said no. You don't act like it. You sure don't act like it.
What are your doubts? What are your doubts based
don't believe he's your daddy.
I always had the doubt in my heart. When I met their mom, he was living a type of lifestyle as a...
While Mr. James has been present in their lives to the best of his abilities, he's never been 100% sure he's their dad. And the girls have felt the same way. Imagine living your life not knowing for sure if your father's really your father or your child's really your child. That's just so sad.
Why did you miss my 8th grade graduation? You weren't away.
Because
you were out. You were able to come. Why did you miss it?
Jamie, because I was a piece of, like, I'm not gonna keep down on myself, but I didn't care about y'all.
You see, it's not even about their paternity anymore. These girls need to go to therapy with their mother to dissect the pent-up hurt both parties feel. Even if they find out who their fathers are, they're still going to walk out of this court, calling their mother the most insulting names.
Children with young people, because it will eat away at them, break them down and lead them down the same road you were. Somebody broke you down.
Where's the use? Because I done told them so many things and said so much, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna get better.
This is a case like no other, because it's not only about finding out who their father is. This is about a mother whose kids wouldn't give her a chance to redeem herself. This is about 3 girls who grew up without a mother and have learned to hate her. This is about a broken home. This is about broken people.
Get better if the only thing you require of her is that she continue to tell you what a piece of crap she's been to you. Look, let me call it the way I see it. You see her, she living her agony every day.
Judge.
Sometimes there's nothing you can do to punish a person more than they punish themselves.
Judge Lawrence summed it up perfectly. The girls need to give their mom a breather because the woman is obviously aware she has done wrong by them and is living with the agony every single day. Could they give her a chance to right her wrongs?
Truly believe that what you need in your life and what you're wanting in your life is not just gonna come from finding out who your father is, but it's gonna truly come when you begin to find out who your mother was.
It's best we get to the results already. Let's find out if Mr. Williams is the father of any of the girls.
Mr. Williams, you are her father.
Ms. Petty has been sleeping with 2 men simultaneously, using one to get back at her ex, and at the same time keeping him in her life because of the baby she already has for him. What a woman. Could there be more to the story? I guess we're going to find out. This is about to be one hell of a case.
It's because she was sleeping around with me and Peter at the same time. The only reason I started messing around with her was to get my son.
You have an older child together, so you were messing around with her to get him.
The way you gotta get it, the way you could get your kid.
He came to me and was like, I still love you, Ania.
Whoops. After having the older child together, they had the option of staying together and raising the boy. They obviously did not take that option. Ms. Petty moved on with another man too. So, why in hell and in the heavens did they keep messing around with one another? It honestly makes 0 sense. Were they not thinking there could be consequences?
I tried to stop messing with her, but every time I stopped messing with her, she'll go ahead and bring up like, well, you can't see your son and all this, you ain't gonna be able to.
Your contention is that he never really got over you and still kept coming around. But you have to tell this court. You do admit that you also were having sex with Mr.
Yes, I
Daniel.
was.
Oh, Ms. Petty, surely the entire concept of commitment must be too much for your pretty, pretty head. If you choose a man, the whole point of it all is to stay with that one man. Nothing like staying with a man and still going back to your ex-boyfriend. But here we are.
He asked me to give my daughter his last name because he knew all the lies Stefan was telling me.
Because they was
everybody know everything he was
they was
telling
together
me
for 2 years.
about how he didn't want to take care
and they
of
were
her.
sleeping with
He
each
don't
other
want to be.
unprotected.
Well, look at both of them go. It's so difficult for Judge Lake to get a word in as it is. If Ms. Petty claims that her current boyfriend put his name on the certificate because he knows the lies Stefan told her, how come she's still sitting at his feet, eating up all those lies? Those lies gotta taste hella good, if you know what I mean.
He don't want to be around for her. He didn't even give her the chance, like, to get to know him. Child support, he avoided DNA testing for my daughter.
Whoa, Ms. Petty really thinks that he already knows in his gut and is trying to run away from his responsibilities. What if he doesn't, though? What if he's just a man that keeps projecting off of the fact that he really does not know if it's his baby or not?
About how often were you sleeping with each man?
I would have sex with them on the same day.
I was afraid I was going to hear that.
All she was trying to do was break a relationship. She was just trying to break up my relationship.
How am I breaking up his relationship?
Because anytime.
Oh my goodness. She's been doing what? Does her current boyfriend even know about this? Oh, it would simply break him. Why exactly is Mr. Ballet acting like he never did anything wrong too? Talking about how Ms. Petty keeps ruining his relationship? Why did he have to keep sleeping around with his ex as well? Come on, it definitely was consensual sex.
The bottom line is, up until this point, until the baby was born, did you know that she had been having a sexual relationship with Mr. Ball as well?
She told me before because of the situation when we got together.
Okay.
So she told me that it was a one time where they did.
But through the entire pregnancy, you were there.
Of course, she told him about the one time. Now who knows if it's just one time or there are more times. After every single moment Mr. Daniels has had with the baby, imagine ripping his heart out of his chest and tearing it to pieces, telling him that he's not the father.
You and Mr. Ball had a sexual relationship.
Last week.
It was not last week. Your Honor, the last time we had a sexual relationship is when she said they broke up.
Mr. Daniel, I see you.
What is wrong with these two? Honestly, they are meant for one another and they need to take their baggage out of Mr. Daniel's life. They were together last week, as per, some days ago. Isn't that the most messed up thing? It seems like it would really never end.
I see his car outside, so I walk around to the window. I look in there and I see her hand, he's laying down. Her hands is in his boxers.
What? Okay, I can see the truth is from the look on your face that you all had another sexual encounter that day.
I wasn't even trying to that day.
Whoa, her hand was where? Surely she wasn't looking for some truth down his boxers. This woman has a loyal and responsible man that loves her and keeps taking all of this. What more does she want? Putting her hands down other men's boxers, searching for God knows what?
I'm happy for Mr. Daniel, but if she is mine, I just want to say I want custody of both of my children. I ain't gonna lie. I'm a better parent than both of them.
And he's not doing nothing for her, for him, neither one. To be honest, I want custody of both of them.
Jerome, I'm ready for results.
I'm not even 100%.
Well, now both dads want full custody. Isn't that something? Let's find out if the baby belongs to Mr. Daniels or Mr. Hands Down His Boxers. Maybe there's another man whose boxers she was searching for some other truth in. We'll find out today in court. Here are the results.
Mr. Ball, you are her father.
Ms. Reinhardt believes that Ms. Crow claims her late son, J.C. Turner, is her baby daddy just so she can get death benefits. However, Ms. Crow says her son Thomas is a result of the love she and J.C. shared while he was alive. Let us find out more.
Crow, you have summoned the defendant to court to prove that her deceased son, J.C. Turner, fathered your 2-year-old son, Thomas. You want Thomas to know who his father is, and you say that Ms. Reinhardt has done everything she can to sabotage your efforts. Is that correct?
It's always difficult to get through a case where the alleged father is dead because we don't get to hear his side of the story. Now, all we've got is what his mom knows, or what she thinks she knows.
I would like help with my son, yes, of course, but my son cannot grow and to know who his family is.
And to this point, he doesn't have any real knowledge of his father. You have not talked to him about his father, or have you?
I have.
You have.
It's nice of Ms. Crow to give father and son the opportunity to bond over the phone, but I'm curious to find out the rest of the story. How did JC's mom know nothing about this? Well, there's only one way to find out.
I understand.
My son and I had a very tight relationship, and Jay would tell me everything when nobody else was around. I knew my son inside and out. And I just don't, as a mother, as a grandmother, having 4 babies of my own.
It looks like it's going to be a tough one because Ms. Reinhardt isn't even on the fence about it. She's totally confident the baby is not her grandchild. But why?
Became inseparable. We, developed, feelings, and it did happen all too fast. He did ask me to be his girlfriend, and we did have unprotected sex as well. So there's no doubt in my mind that Jay's the father. I did not sleep with anybody else in that time when I was with him.
How could she possibly be so sure? Although her relationship with JC was fast-paced, the progression was pretty normal. Two people met, fell in love, slept together, and the woman got pregnant. Ms. Crow's story is quite convincing.
Well, that's your own opinion.
That's your own opinion. The mental capacity of a 16-year-old.
And this how, okay, and you know what? He had feelings.
He was schizophrenic.
He had feelings.
He was schizophrenic and he had...
And I took care of him.
And my son...
I didn't leave him because of that.
Now this is hilarious for so many reasons. Ms. Reinhardt's little technique to identify her grandchildren is just ridiculous. Besides, the pictures look identical, don't they? That baby looks like grandma to me. But again, we cannot be so sure.
Silly sense of humor like Jay. He likes to dance like Jay. And, you know, just right there, you can see it. Like his hair, that is Jay. And, you know, there are things about him that are a lot like me.
Ms. Reinhardt says the baby doesn't look like her, and Ms. Crow's like, that's okay because the baby looks like his father. Even though both metrics don't matter in the long run, Ms. Crow currently has the upper hand.
I have a bowed left leg. My daughter has a bowed left leg. JC was pigeon-toed from birth. So JC lived being severely pigeon-toed all his life.
And you believe this baby does not have that characteristic, which furthers your doubt.
Here we go again with all the features. Can we please cut to the chase and be serious for once? This is no joking matter. This grandma needs to understand that the case is more serious than this.
That we would come across friends, but we didn't know he had conversations with, pregnant with my baby. He's really happy, he's excited. He never denied my child, and I knew for a fact that, you know, he's the father because I haven't been with anybody else.
Ms. Crow made a good choice in breaking up with JC for the safety of herself and her two other kids. Nobody mentioned these kids until now. Guess they're not so relevant to the case.
Of another man that
my
she was
boyfriend.
with.
That's not his father. He was Jamaican. Does he look half Jamaican? And you know, I lost my father the same year my son lost his father. So there's no reason why I would be up here for no reason. I'm doing this for my son.
You can tell Ms. Reinhardt is trying so hard to look for proof that the baby's not JC's. Now she brings up the issue of Ms. Crow's Jamaican boyfriend when the baby doesn't even look the least bit Jamaican.
Okay, good for you.
I was there for 2 hours with his best friend.
I didn't want to go and be around you. You see how you act?
Now that is one tough question. You broke up with the man and he only hung out with his son once. You had 9 months before he passed, but didn't do anything until you saw his obituary?
I didn't even know when the baby was born because I wasn't in contact.
Jay knew.
Jay knew. He's
knew.
Supposedly the alleged father, not...
It don't have to be alleged because we're going to find out today.
So,
listen. You'll see for yourself.
Yes, we are.
I can let my scab...
It is glaring how much these two women can't stand themselves. And it is sad because they're losing sight of what matters at the moment, the baby. Their arguments are both valid, but the baby's paternity is at stake.
That's your son.
He was mad with me because he believed that I was stealing his money. I was the one making sure his bills were paid. I was the one making sure he had a...
But when she left and he was evicted,
he had a two-bedroom...
and I was there and he had no money, he didn't have nowhere to go. I paid for him a place to stay.
Good question, because we can't push all the blame on Ms. Crow. Ms. Reinhardt was his mother at the end of the day. And if indeed he had the mental capacity of a 16-year-old, how did she leave him all alone?
This is serious because JC is gone now. Yeah, he's no longer with us, but this baby, who's potentially his biological child, is here, 2 years old. Only seen his father one time, and the mother...
The two women could keep going on and on and on, but there's no time for that. It's time to see what the results say, so Ms. Crow will know if she's getting those death benefits or not. Please read the results out, Judge Lake, and let us resolve this case once and for all.
It has been determined by this court the percentage of relatedness between Ms. Reinhardt and Thomas is 99.6% you are related.
Ms. Prowell is requesting the court to award her $475 in back child care support in case one of 3 men is identified as her baby's biological father. Mr. Morton, one of the men on the list, believes he should be excluded because there are too many potential fathers for it to be him.
I was under the impression that was, me and her pretty much against the world, I've come to find out that she slept around with one guy, then another guy. I'm just perplexed about the situation. I don't know.
So, Ms. Prowell and Mr. Morton were in a relationship, and Mr. Morton wouldn't have doubted Ethan's paternity if he didn't find out she had been sleeping around with several other men. Let's hear Ms. Prowell's side of the story.
Going wonderful in the beginning. Now, a couple of months in, I'm finding out there's another woman.
What evidence do you have of that?
On his Twitter account. He's talking to a young lady.
Here we go again with the revenge sex trope. When are couples ever going to learn that this doesn't solve anything? She thought he was cheating, so she went ahead to cheat. Now there's a baby, and nobody knows who his father is?
Before he did so, he asked me, was I involved with Miss Prowl? Now, I told him yes.
But you're listening to other people, though. You're listening to other people. I hope you don't
get too serious with her.
Okay, this woman is hilarious. You're upset that he believed someone who told him you were cheating, yet you admit it's true. So what's your issue, ma'am? The point is, you were cheating on him with this, Mr. Gaddis, and that's it.
Didn't know, lied to me, obviously. I don't think I'm the father, because we only messed around a few times. I didn't hear from her for months. I didn't know she was pregnant until Desmond told me in passing.
Wow, Ms. Prowl sure knows how to lie to men. Mr. Gaddis, who is also a potential father, is denying the paternity of the child and even had no idea she was pregnant. They had a fling a long time ago, and to him that ship has long sailed. So this baby issue doesn't seem to concern him much.
I do want to say for the record, I'm very remorseful for what I did because that was totally out of fight. That's what it was. I did it because I found out he was messing around with someone else.
She claims to have been drunk when the thing with Mr. Gaddis happened. But the thing with the third guy, Mr. Lowry, was very intentional and she had done it out of spite. Like Judge Lauren just said, 3 wrongs do not make a right.
If you knew we had sex more than once, why wasn't I hit up for this? Like, why weren't I called?
Can I say something, Your Honor?
I'm talking now.
Can I say something, Your Honor?
Never.
This all makes sense now knowing that they're teenagers. What does Ms. Prowl mean by not wanting Mr. Lowry to be her child's father? If you didn't want him to be, you shouldn't have slept with him in the first place because now it's not in your control.
During our relationship, sometime on the 17th, and I slept with him.
Okay, move on.
I'm on the red. When I slept with Mr. Gaddis at a party.
My goodness, how is this girl not embarrassed? She slept with 3 coworkers in like the same week, and she's here like she's some math teacher teaching the court how to read a calendar.
Mr. Morton was in the hospital with me. However, after me giving birth and they moved me to my stable room, he left and didn't come back.
Does Ms. Prowl think she's in the right? Does she really believe anyone's going to be on her side after everything she's just admitted? It's a good thing Mr. Morton didn't sign that birth certificate. At least he held her hand while she gave birth to the baby. It's proof that he cares for her.
And why didn't you call him?
How can we help if we don't hear about the kid?
The father. I didn't want him to know.
It doesn't matter. If that's my kid, you should have to call me to let me know.
This is what I want to know.
Imagine trying to make a choice now. What a joke. Since when did knowing how to change a diaper become a criterion for being a father? How many men, or people in general, know how to change a diaper before having a kid? It's clear Ms. Prowl doesn't fancy Mr. Lowry very much. Wish she had considered that before having revenge sex with him.
Okay.
It's a percentage that is your child, is that it isn't your child. Regardless, you know, no one should hold it against this child.
But your point is you don't feel like any of the men truly stepped up.
Did Ms. Prowl and her neighbor expect all the men to be knocking at her door, begging to take care of the child when they weren't even sure if the child was theirs? It doesn't work that way. Good thing it's only been 6 weeks, and from here on out, whoever the father is will have to step up.
Here, you take some responsibility yourself for where you and your baby are today. I'm not saying they got it all the way right. All of you silly, because you're teenagers, you're young, you have no business even having baby. If you don't require that they protect themselves.
Bet she wasn't expecting that outburst from Judge Lauren. Let's end this whole thing and find out who Ethan's father is. The results are in.
The father is Mr. Morton. Are those tears of joy or just relief?
I do feel remorseful.
When Mr. Carr walks into court, he has a good case and is even more sure that he is not Trinity's father. He says Ms. Villa broke up with him many times and blamed him for the child while avoiding a DNA test for 3 years. Today, he's going to get the truth.
All right, Mr. Carr, you say you had to open up today's case.
Yes, Your Honor.
Tell the court why.
Your Honor, because her nickname is Heartbreaker.
What does that
From
have
the
to do
beginning
with
of the
Trinity?
relationships that we had together, she was a liar, a cheater.
Things go crazy from here on out. Ms. Villa says she cheated on Mr. Carr, but she still wants him back. She thinks that they can move forward as a family once the tests show that he is the father. The judge still doesn't believe it.
That is a huge jump, Jerome. A jump with a capital J. And it turned into a relationship from just meeting on Facebook.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so you all decided, what is this, love at first sight for you all? Like,
Oh, Mr. Carr is definitely pissed to his bone. He says Ms. Villa cheated on him 8 times with 8 different guys. Even though she tries to hide it, everyone already knows the truth. What makes him think he can trust what she says?
Now, she cheated 8 different times with 8 different people.
8 different times with 8 different people?
Yes, Mom. Yes, Your Honor.
In the beginning, no.
Hold on.
You're a liar.
Wait a minute. She cheated on you 8 different times with 8 different people?
Yes, Mom.
No, that's not how it went.
When the date of conception is called into question, things get even more confusing. Mr. Carr says Ms. Villa slept with someone else on January 31st and then with him on February 14th. But 3 days after that, she told him she was pregnant. That math doesn't make sense.
On February the 14th, 3 days later, the 17th, she tells me that she's pregnant. I'm like, how are you pregnant?
Tony, you're a liar.
If we just slept together on the 14th, then how did you know that you're pregnant? How in the world do you know that you're pregnant?
You
if
told
we
me
slept
I was
together.
So
pregnant.
you
You're a
have
liar.
sex 3 days later and she tells you, now I'm pregnant.
Then, the shock from the back seat. She says she and Mr. Carr got pregnant while having sex in the back of a car while his friend was driving. This information is dropped so lightly that the judge can't believe it.
While he was driving? Yep. And that's the day you think Trinity was conceived?
Yep.
With Mr. Carr?
Yep.
In the car?
Yes.
The back of the car?
It was me and him having sex.
Right. But you say that's not the case.
I don't believe that's the case because of the 31st of January is when she slept with me.
Mr. Carr is still not sure. He says Trinity wouldn't have been born on October 31st if she had been conceived on February 14th. That would have been 3 weeks too early. But Ms. Villa says her due date was actually November 21st, which means Trinity was born before it was time.
But Mr. Carr, you aren't so sure.
I'm not so sure, Your Honor. And it's hurtful because I have to
Mr.
live with
Carr-
this pain every single day.
Tony, you chose
trying
to do that. You were there on and off, on and off.
Anyways.
So Trinity,
this pain every
Trinity
day.
is 3 years old. Do you have a relationship with her?
Yes, Your Honor.
Then everything changes in a big way. When Ms. Villa's best friend is called to the stand, she tells everything. She says that Ms. Villa had a one-night stand with another guy during the time when they were meant to be together. The story gets stronger.
And I'm not going to accept you just painting that picture of her, because I know there has to be a yin to this yang. And I want to understand the type of relationship you've built with this beautiful little girl over the past 3 years.
Mr. Carr goes crazy. For years, he has begged Ms. Villa to give him a DNA test, but she has always dodged the question. Everything is clear. She changed cities every time he tried to find out the truth. The judge doesn't like it.
That's all.
I think we also have to be honest about the fact that you look at her and you see her smile. If we're being very honest, you also look and say, I wonder if she's mine. And that's also the pain behind those tears.
Yes, Mom. It's both ways. It's like a two-edged sword.
Then came the worst kind of betrayal. Ms. Villa says she got the idea for Trinity's middle name from a one-night stand. Mr. Carr is very sad. Now that 3 years have passed, he doesn't even know if this child is his.
You've actually brought an exhibit with you to court that outlines this testimony.
Yes, Mom.
Can you
Yes,
please
Your Honor.
step up to the monitor and let's review this exhibit? So you say she's been running away from a DNA test.
Yes, Your Honor. I was in Alabama. She was in Tampa, Florida.
The results are in. Everyone in the courtroom holds their breath. After years of questions, Mr. Carr, you are the father. He explodes with happiness and relief as he breaks down.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Carr, you are the father. Are you happy?
I'm ecstatic.
Good.
Yes, Mom. I finally got my closure.
The world is definitely about to end when you find yourself in a situation of having to pick between your wife and mistress. Mr. Stewart's mistress, Ms. Dallas, says that he is the father of her child, but he is refusing to accept that so he can keep his marriage together. Here's how the case begins.
Ms. Dallas, you have dragged the defendant, Mr. Stewart, into court today to prove that he is the father of your newborn son, 1-month-old Lamar. You say you are shocked that he's denying he's baby Lamar's biological dad.
Those are big words to be throwing about in a courtroom, but what's shocking is that Ms. Dallas says that Mr. Stewart has been living a double life. Does that mean she never knew he had a wife? Or could she be the one living the double life?
I met Cedric with Mr. Stewart in June of 2016. I was out having breakfast with my friend, probably about 6 o'clock in the morning. And he walked up to me or whatever, offered to pay for my breakfast or whatever. After that, we exchanged numbers, and from there, we hooked.
I think our question has been answered. Mr. Stewart is the one living the double life. It's insane that she had to find out he had a wife through that. I mean, if he wants to live that sort of life, why get married? Some men are just nothing but problems for real.
You know, it didn't come up. You know, I felt like it didn't come up. Like, you know.
How did it not come up? That's relevant information, is it not?
Yeah, true that. Yes, Your Honor.
So wait, you were basically out acting like a single man?
No, I wouldn't act, Yes, Your Honor. Sorry about that.
I'm glad you just went on ahead and told me.
In his head, this man has got to be joking. It doesn't even feel like he feels bad for cheating on his wife. If they are actually getting a divorce, I am happy for his wife. It seems to me that he wasn't ready to be in a very committed relationship with Ms. Dallas.
You have second thoughts about dating a married man?
Yes, I did have second thoughts, but once everything started hitting the floor, like, I was already pregnant. You know what I'm saying? I love Cedric, you know, and he was telling me, like, I'm gonna do the divorce, we're gonna have a house, you know, all this, we're gonna raise our son together, you know. I was believing him because that's all I had to do was believe him.
I think his new name should be the Smooth Talker, rather than Mr. Stewart, because he sure sold the perfect dream to Ms. Dallas. He had her believing that he would get a divorce and they would raise their child together. Yeah, right. Ms. Dallas should have known better. I mean, he was basically cheating on his wife with her.
Getting in doubt, so-called my associate was telling him and his wife that I was sleeping around with multiple men when I conceived Lamar.
Someone that knew you?
Yeah.
They start giving you information?
Yeah, but it was the same friend that sent him naked pictures of herself to him, telling him that I was...
So everybody wants to sleep with Mr. Stewart. I see. This man needs to be whooped. First, he has a wife, then he goes to have a mistress and get her pregnant. Now the coworker is sending him nude pictures of herself? He is definitely not telling the truth. Something just doesn't sound right.
So at what point do you have to come clean with your wife about this baby?
I told her.
Picture of the
because
strip.
when me and Cedric were supposed to be together, Roberta sent me a picture of him and Cedric in the bed. Now Cedric has my name tattooed on him. She sent me a picture. She sent me a picture of him and her.
Oh, it's now a tit for tat kind of thing? Now that is crazy. How are these grown-up women acting like they are in high school? There's a child's life at stake for crying out loud. I'm honestly disappointed in all of them. They should know better. Oh, his wife is not here to fool around at all. Her attitude says it all. She says that Ms. Dallas knew very early that Mr. Stewart was married, and she went on to have a relationship with him anyway. She even says she has proof to back up her claims.
How they met? Cedric met her online.
Okay. And so you believe he was actually looking for
exactly
a relationship outside the marriage?
I wouldn't say a relationship, but relations. Exactly.
Do you believe Miss Dallas knew he was married?
Wow. From what she just said, it seems like Mr. Stewart was actually done with his wife and wanted to be with Ms. Dallas. Explains the look on his wife's face because...
Miss Stewart, you believe that Miss Dallas was having sex with multiple men.
Exactly.
In addition to your husband.
Exactly.
And that's why you doubt that this child is your husband's biological child.
Exactly.
Miss Dallas, were you intimate with...
I'm guessing she had no idea all of this was going on. I guess that answers that question. His wife clearly had no idea all of this was going on. Mr. Stewart even admits that he knows her other kids and they have been together for quite some time to build relationships with all of them. Wow.
She got other kids, you know what I mean? I got a relationship with them, you know, so I wouldn't just be gone.
Wait a minute, now you standing next to your wife and you telling me how you gonna be there for your mistress. I'm getting confused. Who are you actually with right now? Who are you with?
Drama queens. Two drama queens who have both been played by one man. It's surprising and sad that they are both fighting for the same man who lied and slept with both of them. It's insane that they are fighting each other when they should be fighting Mr. Stewart.
Roberta knows what Roberta has to do for herself at this point. Cedric has 3 children of his own that he has neglected to take care of her children.
No, that's not true, because me and him take the baby over there and my other kids to go see his daughter and his son. You always say that, Roberta. No, you're not gonna do him like that.
I don't even know what to say. Is his wife mad at him for sleeping with someone out of their marriage? Or is she mad because she feels like Ms. Dallas's child does not belong to him? I'm genuinely confused. Oh well, let the DNA results clear the air. Here they come. The air.
Mr. Stewart, you are the father.
Hey, I told you, baby. I told you.
Ms. Dallas, I see you are in because
I go through so much with him.